Right, I think we're rolling. Hello guys. Nice to be speaking to you again. It's been a little while. So I'm going to try and update you on what I've been doing with myself over these last few months since I haven't talked to you. And it kind of also marks the 3-year anniversary of when I had my big liver resection surgery in 2021, where I had over 70% of my liver removed due to neuroendocrine cancer. A year that was tricky altogether, but just, I had a number of procedures that year. So I had a small bowel resection, lymph nodes removed, liver embolization, amongst things. So yeah, happy to have that year. A good 3 years behind me now, although sometimes it doesn't feel it was that long ago. It's still, it's still an ordeal of a year that it's probably never going to leave me in some respects, but there's good and bad that's come out of that whole experience. But let me start with just sort of going further into my health, because we haven't talked about that really for a good few months. My last video release was about 3 months ago, but I didn't really touch on it. After my surgeries in 2021, I did have a period of time where I had scans showing no evidence of disease, which was all great for a short while, until kind of beginning of 2023, where scans were showing some tumours on my liver. So it was 2 very small tumours on my liver that were visible again. So what that meant was I had to restart on medication for neuroendocrine cancer, which for me was an injection of a drug called lanreotide, or a somatostatin analog, every 4 weeks. So getting back on the drug wasn't much fun. I had quite a few side effects whilst my body was trying to get used to that drug once again. And also just, psychologically going from a period where I felt like I was almost free of this disease to then kind of not quite being free, kind of in this weird sort of limbo land. So unfortunately, side effects to that medication continued into 2024. I won't go into too many details, but involved sort of a very upset stomach and quite extreme nausea, I suppose. And I was trying to figure out exactly why it was happening, and I kind of came up with a theory that it may have been the fact that sometimes when I was going to the hospital, I was getting a new version of the drug. The hospital was kind of switching over to a different company that made the drug, so a different brand of lanreotide. It seemed to be that whenever I got that drug, I'd get much worse side effects. And that was frustrating because the drug is exactly the same, the ingredients list is exactly the same. It's just, for some reason, the suspension of the drug must be slightly different, because the viscosity of the actual medication was a lot thicker previously to the new version. So I was wondering if maybe the new version was just getting into my system too quickly and causing all these side effects. Anyway, I chatted with my team eventually about it, after probably suffering a little bit too long on my own. It actually came to a head for me when I had one night where I went to bed, and then by the morning, after a terrible night, I was actually 10 pounds or just over 4 kilograms lighter in weight. And then that obviously kind of like wiped me out for a whole week. And that's what I was experiencing sometimes if I was having reactions to these drugs. I'd take like a whole week to recover from getting it. So every 4 weeks, I'd have a week where I just felt rubbish, and I didn't want that. I didn't want that to continue, considering I don't know how long I'll be on this drug for. I could be on it potentially for the rest of my life. So eventually kind of had a good chat with the doctors, and we decided that I needed to just stick on the older version of the drug, because maybe my body was reacting for some reason to the newer version. What that has meant is that, to guarantee that, I'm now administering the drug myself at home, which actually I was a little bit nervous of at first, but it's been quite nice, the fact that I don't have to go into hospital now every 4 weeks to get that drug. So far, I've only had 2 at home, but so far on the old version of the drug, I've felt much, much better. So that's been a good step forward. Now, alongside that as well, I had a good chat with the dietitians, because I just, my digestive system, particularly since coming back on the lanreotide, has just been rubbish. In fact, it's not been great since my surgeries, but we had a good chat, and I've been started on another medication, which is called Creon. It's basically digestive enzymes, pancreatic digestive enzymes in a pill, which it turns out are incredibly hard to get hold of because there's an international shortage. So that's a bit stressful, trying to find them every time I need to top up. But it's basically what it means is every time I eat food, I have to take these tablets to help me digest mainly the fats in my diet. Obviously, being able to digest fats is pretty important. Firstly, if you don't digest fats, it can mess up your digestive system, so you can have a very upset stomach. But also, you're then not absorbing lots of vitamins or minerals that are like fat soluble, and you need to be able to absorb those fats in order to get those vitamins and minerals into you. So I've started on that, and it's been a bit of a life changer for me so far, I'd say. So it's really noticeably better. Happy to say. So I'm very glad I'm on those. That's two pretty positive changes, I'd say, that I've made, taking the lanreotide at home and also the Creon with my meals. Just to touch on that whole lanreotide conversation, I don't want to make people nervous about the whole new brand of lanreotide, because I definitely think I'm in a minority in terms of having adverse side effects to the new version. I was searching all online on different forums to try and find if anyone else had the similar experiences, but most people swapping over to the new version have been absolutely fine. So if you do have to, don't be concerned. Obviously, if you do end up having really bad side effects, then it's something worth considering. Unfortunately, one sort of probably slightly negative thing that's continued for me is that I still struggle a bit with sort of neck and head pains, sort of general aches and pains, and I think that is probably all down to my scar tissue, posture. I have a bit of a theory that my scar tissue is maybe sort of affecting my diaphragm on the side of my surgery. So I'm kind of always working on trying to make that better, because it's a bit debilitating at times. I would say I'm in a better position now than I was a year ago with that whole thing. So definitely getting somewhere. It's just slow. Just being very conscious of my posture a lot. I mean, probably sitting actually quite badly at the moment. So let's correct that right now before this whole cancer thing kind of reared its ugly head. I was doing a lot of running, a lot of obstacle course racing. I started the YouTube channel just to document a few of the bits and bobs I was doing with regards to my exercise. So it is something that's always been very important to me throughout my whole life. So I'm going to continue to talk about that. But 2024 certainly started a little bit frustratingly. I wanted to try and get something going in the gym. I wanted to build some strength, a little bit of muscle, because I know how important that is just for general overall health, but also if I do have to end up getting more surgeries down the line, I need that muscle mass in order to help with my recovery. Every time I try to sort of get going in the gym, I'd sort of aggravate pains and I'd pull my neck, and I just couldn't get going no matter what I did. So that was very, very frustrating. And it's only kind of the last probably 3 or 4 weeks that I've really made any sort of breakthrough when it comes to my exercise, and that is largely down to, I think, getting used to the Creon and my digestive system getting much better, because what that's meant is that I can now go out and run. Before Creon, I was running just was not fun, because I was going out not knowing how my stomach was going to behave. One out of 3 runs would just be a terrible disaster of a run, and it would make running just not fun. But Creon seems to have changed that, and the last few weeks I've been able to go out on runs and not worry about my stomach and not have to, not getting terrible cramps and all this sort of stuff. So we're back running. Brilliant. I'm enjoying that. I've done a bit of cycling, which I'm also enjoying. I still haven't been able to add that gym piece in, and I'm a little bit anxious to add that gym piece in, because these last few weeks my neck and back has felt pretty good, and the gym does seem to aggravate it. So maybe I'll just be an endurance athlete for the rest of my life, but I don't really want to be, because I want a nice balance. So we'll see how that goes. But again, keep harping on about it, but in a much better place now than I was even a year ago. I'm not going to be able to get you caught up with everything I've been doing in my life, but let me just give you a couple of highlights. So a big thing I've been doing this summer has been spending quite a lot of time in this garden here. It's actually started to rain, so I don't know if I'm getting any spots on the camera, but yeah, classic that it's just started to rain on us. But yeah, I've been spending quite a bit of time in the garden now. So if you're a long-term viewer of this channel, you'll know that this garden was actually landscaped by a good friend of mine, James, and a team of other friends of mine. So James and team, as just a very nice act of kindness, they wanted to create an environment for me to come back to after after my operation, and they did an amazing job. Unfortunately, following that, they had quite a bad winter. I think it was winter sort of 2022, where lots of storms kind of blew through, and quite a bit of the fencing got blown over. So I've spent quite a bit of time replacing the fencing. Yeah, it meant that I had a lot of debris in the garden to get rid of, and just to try and bring this garden back to looking as nice as it did when James and team first kind of landscaped it. So yeah, I've been spending quite a bit of time this summer just getting it looking good again in this garden, and yes, really nice to look around. Quite proud of it. It's not finished yet, there's a few little bits, but I think that's with most people's gardens, isn't it? They're very, very rarely finished, but to have a nice space to sit in is lovely when the weather's playing ball, that is. Done some lovely things with Jenny over the last few months as well. One big highlight that I'm going to tell you about is that we went and had a lovely trip to Chamonix in France, which is just such an awesome place. Love it there. Fits in very nicely with my love of the mountains and love of trail running and just hiking in general, just that outdoor lifestyle. So we went and spent a few days there. Jenny's first time in Chamonix, my third time in Chamonix. I've been in the winter as well, now twice in the summer. We went on a lovely hike on one of the days. Beautiful weather, beautiful scenery. Couldn't have wished for anything better, really. We had some lovely food and just spent some lovely time together. So 3 years really has flown by, and 3 years ago, I was lying in that miserable hospital bed and I was unsure what my future would hold. Life's ups and downs are still perplexing at times, but I am so grateful I still get to experience some of its wonders, and to do it with Jenny, who has been by my side throughout, is extra special. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.